Hello everyone, let's start our lesson number 8, Flow of Control part 3. In this lesson we are going to learn nested loop, that is nested for, nested while, and also solve some program using nested loop, pattern programs and other programs. After that we will continue with our jump statement. That is jump statement has two statements, one is break and continue. Okay, based on that also we will solve some programs. Okay, this nested loop. What is nested loop? We have learned in previous lesson what is for loop and the while loop. Based on that we will create the nested loop. So what is nested loop? One loop is embedded within another. One loop is enclosed within another. There are two types of nested loop. Okay, one is your nested for loop, another is nested while loop. Nested for loop syntax is for I sequence or range function you can use. Okay, within that loop another loop j in sequence. That I control variable for the outer loop. Look at here, this j loop is within the for loop. Okay, that is the inner loop. Then within the j loop, so that statements will repeat. Okay, then nested while loop. In nested while loop also one while is enclosed within another while. So now I equal to 1 is the counter variable. I is the counter variable for the outer loop. So first is the initialization of the counter for the outer loop, then the while condition. Then after that, after the outer loop, then we have to initiate the initialization of the inner loop, then the while condition inner loop, then the statements to be executed within the inner loop, then increment step for the inner loop. Outside the inner loop we will increase, outside of the inner loop we will increase the outer loop. Okay, that's about our nested while, and here is nested for. So what are the rules we need to follow? First rule is counter variable names should be different. Like here we have given outer loop counter variable is I and inner loop counter variable is j. We cannot give I here even when the inner loop is I. No, so the interpreter will confuse. So we have to give two different, if it is I or j or a or b or x or y, any variable we can give, but it has to be different. And how does it work? Initially the iteration, the outer loop starts executing. Okay, after the first iteration, after the first pass or iteration, the inner loops trigger, I mean the starts to execute. When the inner loop starts executing, so the all the iteration, all the pass so need to be completed before going to the next iteration of the outer loop. Okay, let's read this. Initially the first iteration of the outer loop starts, and then inner loop starts and complete all its iteration. Then second iteration of the outer loop starts, and again the inner loop executes and completes all iterations, and so on. Okay, so this way the nested loop works. Let's learn one by one. Let's move to the next slide. So that is your nested for loop. In nested for loop, look at here, for I in range 1 to 3. So last lesson we have already learned what is the initial value, what is the final value. Now here 1 is the initial value, 3 is the final value. 3 is the final value means what is the upper bound, that is 2. So output will be the outer loop is 1 and 2. Now moves to the inner loop for j in range 1, 3. So here is also I value is 1 and the final value, initial value of j is 1 and the final value is 3. That means the upper bound is 2. Print I and j. Now look at the dry run the program. I look at this I column and the j column. So first I value, the first iteration or a first pass of I value is 1. When I value is 1, so inner loop will be executed. So inner loop, what is that? Inner loop j value is 1 and 2. J value is 1 and 2. That means in the first iteration of the inner loop, it will be 1. Okay, j value is 1, and the second iteration of the inner loop, j value becomes 2. Okay, since it is printing I and j, the first iteration of the inner loop, that is your j loop, so what will happen? I value is 1 and the j value is 1. In the second iteration of the the inner loop, j value is 2, but I value is still 1 because we didn't reach yet, the control it didn't reach yet to the second iteration of the outer loop. Okay, so that's why the I value is still 1. So what is the output you are getting? Print ij means it is on the monitor, it will be print I value is 1 and j value is 1. Then second iteration of the j value, so I value is still 1 but the j value becomes 2. Okay, now after completing the inner loop, so it will move to the second iteration. When it will move the second iteration of the outer loop, now I value becomes 2. When I value becomes 2, again the inner loop will be executed. So inner loop again 1 and 2 means the j value is first 1, then j value becomes 2. So the I value is 2. When the j value is 1, again I value is 2 when the j becomes 2. Okay, so here is 2, I value is 2, then j value is 1, I value is 2, j value is 2. Let's take another example. For I in range 1, 7 and 2, 1 is the initial value, 7 is the final value and 2 is the step. So what are the, suppose we will execute the outer loop, what are the I value it will generate? First it will be 1, then 3, then 5, 7 it will not be printed because your upper bound equal to final value minus 1. So upper bound will maximum it will go to 6. But since it is step 2, it will go up to 5. 1 plus 3, 1 plus 2 it will become 3. 3 plus 2 becomes 5. So when you say 5 plus 2, then it will be 7, but 7 will not be printed. That is your output will be output for the outer loop. Now just see output for the inner loop. Inner loop is 1 to 4 means the upper bound is 3. So output of the inner loop will be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let's execute the nested loop. Okay, first I value, then j value. First I value will become 1. Okay, since it is 1, so j will be repeat how many times? It is 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I value remains same. Okay, for all 3 iteration of the inner loop, I value is 1. Then again is also 1. Then third time also 1. So output will be 1, 1, 1 and 1, 2, 3. It is a printing mistake. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now after completing the first iteration, the first iteration of the outer loop, so inner loop completed 3 iteration. So after completing 3 iteration of the inner loop, then it will move to the second iteration of the second pass of the outer loop. When it is second pass of the outer loop, what will be the I value? Since step is 2, so I value becomes 3. So 3 will be printed thrice. Okay, and the inner loop will become 1, 2, 3 because the output of the inner loop is, the j value is 1, 2, 3. Then in the third iteration, what is your I value? 3 plus 2, it is 5. It is 3 times 5. Why is it 3 times 5? Because the inner loop will be repeated how many times? 3 times. 1, 2, 4 means it will repeat thrice. Okay, so that's why when it is 3, 3, 3, so it is 1, 2, 3. This for the second pass. The third pass I value is 5. It would be 3 5s and 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is about our nested for loop. Okay, let's do some program using nested for loop. Let's move to the Python platform. Okay, now just see, this is a nested for loop. For I in range 1, 2, 3, that one we have done it. Just now we learned the same thing. We have done it in the Python platform. Now run and just check whether you are getting the same output or not. You see, we are getting 1 1 1. That is your I value is 1 1 1. Just check the I value. Print I comma j means first column is I and second column is 1 2 1 2. Why it is twice 1 2 1 2 coming? Because the outer loop will repeat 2 passes. I mean, it will repeat twice. It has 1 2 3 means the final value is 2, so it will iterate twice. Since it will outer loop iterate twice, so inner loop will iterate twice. Okay, so that's about our nested for loop. Let's do some more program using this nested for loop. Let's try out that same program we have done, that step 2. So inner loop will become 1 comma 7. The step is 2, that is our outer loop, and inner loop is 1 1 4. Okay, now we'll just run the program. See, 1 3 thrice 3 and thrice 1, then thrice 3, then thrice 5, because your outer loop will repeat thrice. Then each pass or each iteration of the outer loop, the inner loop will repeat how many times? Even it is 3 times. 1 to 4 means 3 times. Let's change this one. It is up to we can give it is 5, and this one we can give it as 9. So now just see what should be the output. Here will be 1 3 5 7, and here it will be 1 2 3 4. Okay, 1 3 5 7 means the outer loop will repeat 4 times, and even the inner loop will repeat 4 times. Okay, so now let's run and just check the program. Just see, 1 4 times, because it is inner loop will repeat 4 times. The second, it is 1 3, it will be repeat 4 times, and 5 will repeat 4 times, and 7 will repeat 4 times. Suppose we will not change it, we'll just give it here 3. Okay, now just check what will happen. This outer loop will repeat 4 times. Okay, 1 3 5 7. Okay, let's close this and we'll run again. So now let's see why now it is outer loop. The first pass it is repeating twice, because the inner loop is repeating twice, because 1 2 3 means it will be the output is 1 2. Then the second iteration of the outer loop is twice, even the third iteration also twice, even the fourth iteration also twice. Okay, because the inner loop was repeating twice. So inner loop is repeating twice and the outer loop is repeating 4 times. So this print statement, how many times is repeating? The print statement is how many times it is repeating. So because the outer loop is 4 and this is 2, so 4 into 2, 8 times. Just count, if you count here, it is 8 times. The 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, how are you getting 8 times? Because outer loop 1 to 9 means it is 4 iteration and the inner loop will be 2 iteration. Per outer loop, each iteration the inner loop will repeat twice. So since it is 4 iteration of the outer loop and the 2 iteration of the inner loop, so altogether, and the total iteration for this statement within the J loop is 4 into 2. Okay, 4 for outer loop, 2 for the inner loop. Okay, that means altogether 4 into 2, it will be 8 iterations. Similarly, if outer loop is 4 and the inner loop is 3, so 4 into 3, 12 iteration. I mean the loop, the statement within the J will repeat. Here it is 8 times. If it is outer loop it is 4 and the inner loop is 3, then is 4 into 3, 12 iteration. Okay, that's a nested loop example we learned too. So let's learn table program. Okay, now look at here. We have done the program how to find the multiplication table. Just look at the inner one. The previous lesson we have learned how to do the multiplication table. You see here, the within the for loop, I mean the outer for, I mean the inner loop, the statements have given for the, if you copy this part inner loop, we'll just copy, we have done this one, copy, and you will just store it in new file, paste out here. Okay, and if you run this, if you run the code, it will find the multiplication table since I is not there. So suppose you will write here 5, then it will display the multiplication table of 5. Okay, this is the multiplication table of 5. That is only we are finding a specific number. You can write input n and you can give n into j, so that will be any number. But if you check the nested loop, what is happening, the outer loop is what is for the table, outer loop is for the table. So the inner loop is for the multiples. Suppose I value is 1 to 11 means we are finding the multiplication table from 1 to 10. Okay, so just see multiplication table from 1 to 10. So outer loop will write the range from which are the table which are the numbers multiplication table you want to print. So that's why we are giving 1 to 10, though what will give the initial value 1 and the final value is 10 plus 1 11. So inner one is just to find out the multiples, the multiplication table. Okay, so now when you run the program, you see first it is showing the first table, then it is displaying the second table, then it is displaying the third table, then the fourth table, fifth table, then the sixth table, then the seventh table, then the 8th table, then 9th table, okay, then 10th table, and in between you must have noticed there is a pause. So purposely we have given this pause, okay, otherwise you will not get the multiplication, your clarity will not be there in the output. So for that pause, how will you give the time, the module, okay, time module you can give sleep 2 is the second. The sleep is the function of the time module. So 2 is the second, that is the 2 seconds it is giving the pause. Okay, that is about here multiplication table 1 to 10. You can give the multiplication table say 5 to 10. So what will happen? If it is 5 to 10, then you have to give the initial value as 5. Then you can run the module. Okay, so it will be 5, then that is 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. Okay, so this the way we can find out the multiplication table of range of numbers. Okay, fixed range of numbers. Okay, this is for the fixed range of number. Suppose you will not give the range and you will not specify, and you will ask the user enter the upper bound and the lower bound. So then how can you do that? Okay, let's solve that program. Now just see the here what we are doing, finding the multiplication table for a given range. So when it is range, then you have to give the upper bound and also the lower bound. So the initial value is L because it's the lower bound, and upper bound, the final value will become the upper bound plus 1, and the rest of the code is same. The multiplication table code is fixed because multiplication table the multiples might be 1 to 10 or 1 to 12. If it is 1 to 10, you write 11 here. If it is 1 to 12, then you write 13. Okay, now let's run this one. When you run, it will ask you enter the upper bound. Okay, now we'll just clear the output screen and we'll execute again. So now we will run. So upper bound, suppose we will give the same value, say 10, and the lower bound if you give 7, so it will be 7 table, then 8 table, then 9 table, then 10 table. Okay, that way we can give the range just to find the multiplication table. Okay, these are the important programs, I mean the common programs we get using the nested for loop. Okay, let's learn how to generate the pattern. Okay, now just see, this is the first pattern program. How will you create a right angle triangle using the asterisk? So now just look at here. The first one is 1 asterisk and the base one is 5 asterisk. So that means you will repeat how many times the statements? The 5 times. Okay, so 5 time iteration is required. So now for I in range 1 to 6 outer loop, you will give the value based on the number of times you are repeating. Number of times are repeating. So how many times you are repeating? This is your first, then first time of iteration you are repeating 1 asterisk. Second iteration you are printing 2 asterisk. The second iteration of the outer loop you are printing 2 asterisk, and third iteration 3 asterisk, fourth iteration 4 asterisk, and the fifth iteration 5 asterisks. So this number of iteration, number of times you are repeating, that will be your outer loop. Okay, so it is 1 to 6 because it is 5 times iteration for the 5 asterisks. Okay, now inner loop is what? Inner loop is for each outer loop iteration, how many times you are repeating. Okay, the first time you are repeating the inner loop once, second time you are repeating twice, and third time you are repeating the inner loop thrice, and the fourth time you have to repeat 4 times, and the fifth one is for 5 times. So since you are repeating the inner loop, okay, based on the pattern, so you start with the 1. So first one is 1, second one is 1 and 2. So we are giving 1 comma I plus 1. Why is it I plus 1? Because first I value is 1. Okay, since I value 1, so if you start the j value 1 only, because you are printing first 1, then 1 2, so it has to be 1. Then I plus 1. I plus 1 means the initial value of I is 1, so it will be 1 plus 1 2. First it will be 1, initial value is 1, so 1 to final value is 1 also. So that's why the final value is 2. Sorry, final value will be 2, so upper bound will become 1. Initial value 1 and upper bound is 1. That's why it's printing 1. But in the second iteration, the initial value is 1, but your upper bound is 2. Okay, upper bound is 2. The second iteration I value becomes 2. Third iteration I value becomes 3. Just see 3. Third iteration 3. And the fourth iteration the I value will be 4. And the fifth iteration it will be 5. And the sixth iteration the control will exit. Since I value is coming 1 2 3 4 5, and the asterisk also printing accordingly, so we are giving us I plus 1. If it is 1, then it will become 2. If it is 2, then it will become 3. If it is 3, then it will become 4. And if it is 4, then it will become 5. So when I equal to 1, the j will repeat once. When I becomes 2, j will repeat twice. When I becomes 3, j will repeat thrice. The inner loop will repeat thrice. When I becomes 4, in the fourth pass, fourth iteration, j will repeat 4 times. So we'll get 4 asterisk. So when the I becomes 5, the j loop will be, the inner loop repeat 5 times. So you will get the 5 asterisks. Hope you are clear. So when I the first iteration, inner loop will repeat how many times? Only once. Okay, that's why it is 1 I plus 1. So 1 plus 1 plus equal to 2. So it will iterate only 1. When I becomes 2, the inner loop repeat twice. So that's why you will get 2 asterisks. 2 asterisk. When I becomes 3, the inner loop will repeat thrice. That's why you will get 3 asterisk. When I becomes 4, so inner loop repeat 4 times. That's why we will get 4 asterisk. When I becomes 5, it will repeat 5 times. So inner loop repeat 5 times, you'll get the 5 asterisk. Suppose there are 6 asterisk are there, so outer loop will become, instead of 6, we'll get the final value as 7, and the rest of the codes are same. Okay, now we'll run the program. Let's see. Got it? Okay, now let's learn the second pattern of Python program. So this, in the second pattern, let's see, just reverse of that previous one. Okay, so in this it is just the reverse triangle, and we have not done nothing new, only we have, instead of 1 to 6, we have given here 5 to 0, because you are starting with 5 asterisks. So it will be 5 and 0, it will go 5 up to 1. Okay, 5, first 5, then the last asterisk is 1. First is 5 asterisk, so it is 5, and the 1 is the last asterisk, so that's why it is 5 and 1. Okay, now just run the program. Let's see. Here getting the reverse triangle. This is the triangle and is the reverse triangle. Okay, learn one more pattern. Now just see, in the pyramid shape, I mean the shape, the program, just see, in this case, what is happening? It is same only. The first is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 and 5. So look at here, outer is 1 to 6 like your first pattern program, and the look at this J, the second J loop, exactly same, and one more J loop we are using because we need the space. The first we are leaving 5 spaces, then 4 spaces, then 3 spaces, then 2 space and 1 space. Okay, so that's why we are using a counter here. S equal to 5, S stands for space. Okay, we start, first we are leaving 5 spaces, so 5 in reverse way, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we are starting S as 5, then the step is -1, definitely the reverse order. So first we are leaving the inner loop here, 2 inner loops. The first inner loop, this is your second. This is not nested, this J is not within this, so same variable we can use, J and J. The 2 inner loops are there. First inner loop for the space, second inner loop for the asterisk. We are, this first inner loop is creating generating the space, generating space out here, generating space. Okay, and this one is generating asterisk, generating asterisk. Okay, this is generating asterisk. Okay, and here first we are generating 5 spaces. Okay, then after the generating asterisk, then this new line character, why are you giving? If you won't give the new line character, the second 2 asterisk, it will not come to the next line. You can try also in computer, just so we drawing the new line character, you can check the output. Then we are reducing the space, first is 5, then it is 4. Okay, so then again it will be leave the 4 spaces, then S become 3, it will leave 3 blank spaces, then S becomes 2, it will leave 2 blank spaces. When S become 4, this J will generate 4 spaces. When S become 3, it will generate 3 blank spaces. When S become 2, it will generate 2 blank spaces, and when S become 1, it will generate only 1 blank space. That is for the last one. Okay, this is, we'll just run the program, just try, let's see whether it is coming or not. Okay, this is our third pattern program. Let's move one more pattern program. Okay, pattern number 4. Let's see, in this pattern program we are generating the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, same only 1 to 6 here. Instead of asterisk, we are just printing the J value. We are generating J value. Instead of asterisk, we are giving the J value. Okay, so we are, first J is 1, then it will be, when first pass it is 1, then it will be 1, then 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the way we can generate the number 2. Okay, the next we can do the reverse way, pattern number 5. Okay, pattern number 5, just see, just reverse of this. Okay, 5 minus 1, when you run the program, You just see 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now the last pattern program is we can do, that is alphabets. Oh, this is also is a very good pattern. This pyramid shape 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Here what is happening? Twice we are using the first we are using the space. Okay, then we are generating the numbers. Okay, J value. Then again, I mean the first, there are 3 J. The first J, the first one is for the space. First one is for the space, and second one is for the first half. Like means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the middle line. The leftmost series means your first 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your rightmost series. What is the rightmost series? That is your 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's why your third one is your in reverse order. First one is in ascending 1, I plus 1. But here just see, I minus 1. Because I value is 1, no? So it will be 0. The first one, only 1 is there. It is the rightmost, it is starting from the second statement. 1 here. 1, then 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it is moving in reverse order. So I minus 1, 0, minus 1. Okay, that is your rightmost series. And the space, like your previous pyramid, where the space is also S minus 1. So now run this, just see. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 4. This is a very, very important program. Okay. So we'll move to the one more pattern program. Look at here. Here we are using the string, I mean the alphabets. Okay, we assign the string A, B, C, D, E and find the length of the string. Length of the string is what? How many characters are there? So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5 is the character. So J in range I plus 1. Okay, that means here initial value is 0. 0 and the upper bound is I and the final value is I plus 1. So initially I value is 0 and the J value is 0. So ST of 0 means it will extract the first character A. Then I value becomes 1. So when it is 1, the inner loop will repeat twice. So it will extract A and B. When I becomes 2, so initial value will be 0, but it will go up to 2. Because 2 plus I value is 2. 2 plus 1 it become 3. Okay, so it will execute A, B, C. Okay, again I value becomes 4 because your range is length is your 5. So now I value is 4. So what will happen? 0 to 3. Okay, when I becomes 5, so it will become 0 to I plus 1, it is 5 plus 1, 6, 0 to 5. So we'll run the program. Let's see whether you are getting the output. Okay, we have completed all the pattern program. One more nested program will do, that grade program, which one we have already done in the previous lesson. Let's see, look at here, we have done input the marks of 5 different subjects and find the grade. That we have done for one students. Now we are doing n number of students. What you have to do, the entire program that your previous slide, if you check, so previous lesson, if you check this program, we have done for the finding the this total and average mark of single student. So here we are finding the total and average mark of n number of students. When you run this program, suppose you ask 2 students. So 2 students, it will ask enter the subject name. Suppose we are writing the physics, then the mark you are writing 67. Suppose you enter the name of the subject chemistry, so suppose you are enter the mark 78. Subject name say computer science, so you are entering 89. And the subject name, suppose you are entering English, so now we are entering the mark 69. Okay, subject name if you are writing mathematics, so and you are entering the mark 98. So what will happen? Your total mark is 401 and your average mark is 80.2 and your grade is B. Okay, since it is two students, so we will enter again the subject name physics. So we will enter the mark 69. Suppose we are entering the subject name chemistry, so we are entering the mark say 87. And again the subject name is computer science and you are entering 95. And the subject name is English and you are entering the mark is 79. So next is mathematics and you enter the mark as 99. So the 99. So total mark is 429, average mark is 85.8 and still the grade is B. Okay, we have solved quite many nested programs and also we can try some more other programs like your Armstrong number, palindrome number, then perfect number, automorphic number, that we have done only using one number. You can use with the range of numbers. Okay, let's move to the slide and learn the nested loop. Okay, now look at here, nested while. Nested while loop is I already explained in the previous slide that this is your I value is the outer counter variable. Then this is we are repeating how many times, that means I value is 1, then 2, it is I less than 3. Then after the condition of the outer loop, you have to keep the inner loop in initialization, then the inner loop, then within the inner loop you have to give the statements to be executed and your increment step for the inner loop. Then the outside the inner loop you can give the outside the inner loop, the I plus 1 is the increment for the outer loop. Okay, the exactly same like your previous slide, that previous slide program. Let's see, this program we can write it using this 1 to 3, 1 to 3, this one using the while loop. Okay, and now this one, this 1 to 7, this one 1 7 step 2 we are writing using the while loop. Okay, here is step 2, outer loop is step 2. Okay, this is about your while loop and we can also run some programs in your Python environment. Okay, 1 or 2 programs we can look at here. The same programs I have written here will run I equal to 1, I is less than 3, j equal to 1, j is less than 3, print j and I. Just see I equal to I plus 1 is aligned with while loop. So in a while loop, so that means it is outside, it shows it is outside the inner loop. Okay, since it is aligned, and the print ij and j equal to j plus 1, it is aligned within the while loop, that means it is inner loop. Please be careful while you writing the statements using while loop, the alignment, I mean the indentation. This is j equal to 1, it is within the inner loop. This is j equal to 1 inner loop, then I equal to I plus 1. Actually in while, outer while, there are 3 statements, j equal to 1, inner while and the I equal to I plus 1. Okay, so we will run the program. Just see, same output like you nested. For one more program we can try out using your nested for loop, and nested while. Okay, the same program only, that program we have done. I just showed you same, I equal to 1, I plus 2. Okay, we'll run this. 1 3 7. Okay, one more. Look at here, in this while loop what is happening, the same program we have done with while, but in that for loop we have specified input number n, but in this case we can as many as you can You can enter only one, or you can enter two records or three records. Okay, so initially you use one variable. I mean, this is called flag. Okay, flag variable or a boolean variable. So since we are comparing with the small a, so small y, so we have used the lower function. Whatever the input you will enter, that will convert to lowercase. Okay, let's execute the program. Okay, execute the program now. Enter the subject name English. 45 physics, 56 chemistry, 67. Then it will enter the again subject name. Suppose you are giving mathematics, so you are entering 78. Then you are entering 5 subject name computer science, entering 89. So total marks 335, average mark is 67.0 and grade D. So while you execute it will you have to give no. If you give no, so it will continue. It will ask, do you want to continue? If you say no, it will stop. If you say yes, it will continue. Okay, now let's go back to your program. Look at here. So we are giving the reply, the same code you are printing, So towards the end, after typing, inside the outer loop, I mean the while loop, what we are doing, we are giving the reply. Okay, reply here. What is happening here? Nested loop, look at here. While is the outer loop and for is the inner loop. That can also be possible. For you can also here, you can use while loop too. Okay, it is while and inside the inner loop is for. That also can be possible. Okay, so reply here is the condition. I mean, you suppose you will say give yes. So y, and yes means either y or n. Suppose you are giving capital Y, automatically it will convert to small y. If you are giving other than y, then it will exit. Not only n, you can give a x, y, a, b, c, d, any other letter except y. It will exit from the control. Okay, that's about our while loop. Now let's back to the slide and we will learn jump statement. Okay, before starting the jump statement, let me tell you, any programs, whatever the programs you can do it using, for even nested programs you can do it also using while. That Armstrong number and reverse number, for the we have learned only one number, you can do it for multiple numbers using while statement. Okay, I mean the nested while or nested loop statement. Okay, back to the slide and we'll learn the jump statement. Okay, what is the jump statement? Look at here. There are two types of jump statement. One is your break statement, another is continue statement. Let's learn what is break statement. It terminates a loop. Suppose if you write the break statement within a loop, if it is a nested loop, suppose you are giving the break statement within the inner loop, control will exit from the inner loop and go to the outer loop. If it is only one loop, it will exit from the loop and go to the statement immediately after the loop. Okay, now just see, break statement terminates a loop, skip over a certain number of statement, control moves to the statement immediately after the loop. Okay, repeat the suppose your program is given example, repeat the loop 5 times, execute what will happen, repeat the loop 5 times or execute the loop 5 times. Okay, this is using your while loop. So while true, I mean that is we are using the boolean variable. So here there is no condition we are giving here. If I is greater than 5, then I value will be is greater than 5, so it is giving the break. That because your question is repeat the loop 5 times. So you are giving if I value is greater than 5 means I is still equal to 5, it will repeat. When it becomes greater than 5, then you can break. Many a times when you do your menu driven programs, at that time you can use the break statement. Your prime number also break statement. So many, it's a very important statement of Python. You can sometimes we need exit from the loop, so we can use the break statement. Every programming language there is a statement which terminates the loop. Okay, here in Python that the name of the statement is break. So if the I value is greater than 5, then it breaks. Otherwise it is printing the I value, and what we are doing, not only printing, we are finding the sum. That is extra statement. Okay, so whatever, not only sum, anything you can do. Your main condition out here, when I value is greater than 5, then it's exit from the loop. Okay, back to the Python. Let's try out one program, only one program based on this. Look at here, the same program. So when you run the module, see, it is up to 5. Simple, it's up to 5 and finding the sum. Okay, that's about our break statement. Let's move to the continue statement. Okay, so continue statement is what is happening? Skip the current iteration and control moves to the beginning of the loop. Their break statement exit from the loop. Here what is happening? We will move to the beginning. I mean, we'll skip that iteration. Suppose your control is in iteration number 3 and we don't want the iteration 3 to be processed. So what will happen? You will just give continue statement. If you say continue, then it will skip the iterations 3 and it will go to the iteration number 4. Okay, so now look at this example. Skip over the current iteration and control moves to the beginning of the loop. Okay, that beginning of the loop means it will go to the move to the next iteration. Now just see continue statement, find sum of first 5 odd numbers. What is happening here? We are just first 5 odd numbers. Okay, once we interpreter encounter the even numbers, it will skip that iteration. Okay, it will move to the next iteration for asking the number. Every iteration we are asking the number, and after that we are checking. If it is even number, then you are continue. Continue means we will skip that iteration and move to the next iteration. Okay, so after this, what is happening? We are printing the number of odd numbers. Then we are finding the sum, and since it is a while loop, we can use the I equal to I plus 1. It's not only the break and continue we'll use in the while loop, we can also use in the for loop. Okay, this is this program. Let's try out in the Python environment. Look at here the program. Let's run now. Let's see. Okay, before learning, I'll just show this is your, since while loop, this is your initialization, is finding the sum of odd number. Then this is your iteration for the why I is less than 5, because you are entering 5 odd numbers. Then here we are input the number, then you are checking whether it is odd or even. If it is even, then we are continue, that means we are skip that iteration. Otherwise we are printing what is the number. I mean, it's a first odd number, a second number, a third number. Here we are entering, finding the sum of, it is not I actually, it's supposed to be sum of odd number, it is s plus n. So now we are increasing the iteration. Now run the program. So let's see. Enter any number. Suppose you are entering 6. This is not odd number, so it will skip the iteration. Suppose you're giving 7. This is the first odd number, so then we are entering 9. This is your second odd number. Okay, suppose you are giving 2. This is not, it will skip. So now you are giving 11 is the third odd number. Okay, suppose you are giving 1, it's the fourth odd number. Suppose you are giving 4, it is even number, so it will skip. Suppose you are giving 5, so it is the odd number, So now it is, we got 5 odd numbers. So what is its accumulating? 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 1 plus 5. Okay, we are getting 33. Okay, now that's about our jump statement, continue and break statement. Okay, we will stop here and we will continue with the next lesson as your list and tuple. We have completed our selection, iteration and sequence statements and programs also saw, and the next lesson we are going to start with list and tuple. Okay then.